Hey lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now I'm doing another story time. Like I had said in the last video, I'm going to do the story time on When I Met My Husband. And I said I was going to pull out an older palette, so this is the palette that I chose. This is the Anastasia palette in collaboration with Jackie Aina, who's also, a YouTuber. This is, Lord. It's a little messy, but this is the color story. Okay, so now let's begin. Going in with a Morphe M518 in the shade Ginger, very, very lightly. My transition area. Okay, now the day I met my husband, I was actually outside, one of the rare occasions where I was in front of the building, and his aunt, who was actually our neighbor, so she lived in the building like right next to our building, and she came outside to kind of chill, and she sat down next to me, and we were just talking. And a lot of the times when she was outside and I was there too, I kind of like we just sit next to each other and just talk or whatever. Sometimes my mom would hang outside, and basically just outside and talking. So it was one day, well, on this day in particular, she had asked me like, hey, I told my nephew to come by. I want to go pick him up at the train station. Now, the whole reason why he was coming by was because her son had did something he wasn't supposed to, and I'm not gonna put his business out there or whatever, but he did something he was supposed to, and she had called her nephew, her oldest nephew Nelson, to kind of come and handle him, so to speak. So she was like, hey, you wanna over to the train station? So I'm like, oh my god, like, yes, that means I get to leave the block for a little bit. Yeah, of course. I just gotta ask my mom first. So I ran upstairs, and I'm like, Ma, can I walk Rose to the train station? She's gonna go pick up her nephew, so I just want to go for the walk. No, she said yes. So I was like, yes, I get to leave the block. Yes. So who went with us was obviously Rose, myself, and her son's girlfriend, and also her son. So he's thinking like, yeah, my cousin coming through, we want to chill, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, mama got the plans for you. So as we're walking, we're all talking and chopping it up, primarily talking to Rose and her son's girlfriend at the time. I'm not gonna, mention her name in case she doesn't want to be mentioned, but I know, Auntie Rose won't, be upset at me using her name. So we're walking, we get to the train station. It wasn't that far from, our house wasn't too far from the block. And so she's on the phone with Nelson. She's like, yeah, there's Smith and Knight. Oh, you here? Okay. We right in front of the train station. So we're in front of the train station. Now I'm expecting him to say, like, hi to everybody or whatever. No. This boy come, swerve right past all of us, go straight to his cousin, and like yoke him by the neck with his arm. So I'm like, oh shit, he's in trouble. Oh shit. So I'm like, in my head, like, okay, he went straight to business. He didn't want to say a hi, hello, or nothing. So from what I can see, he like, yoked him up with his arm, and he's over there having like a stern talking to. Nelson is having a stern talking to his cousin. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not going to interrupt. So eventually, after that little awkward scenario is over, we start now walking further. And Rose like, hey, where you want to go? I don't know whose idea it was to walk to McDonald's, but we ended up walking to McDonald's, which was only like maybe 5 minutes away from the train station. So we walked to McDonald's, and at this point, while we walked to McDonald's, he had, left his cousin's side, and he came to properly say hi to everybody and, introduce himself, whatever. Well, Rose introduced him, but he turned around to properly say hi after he was done dealing with his cousin. Is what I'm trying to say. So I'm like, hey. So Rose introduced, she's like, this is my neighbor's daughter, Jackie. Ada. Say hi. Nice to meet you. So now we're talking, like, I can't remember what we were all talking about, but we made our way to McDonald's. And we're there. And I'm like, Rose, can you buy me, like, some French fries? And I'll have my mom pay you when we get back to the block. So she's like, just ask my nephew. And I'm like, in my head, like, I don't know this boy. I'm not gonna ask this boy to pay for my food, for my French fries. I don't know him. Like, I felt super awkward. So she's like, yeah, no, go ahead, go ask him, he ain't gonna mind. Just go ask him. It took a couple of minutes of her, like, pushing me to ask Nelson, like, to buy me some French fries. So eventually I caved, and I'm like, all right. So I walked over to Nelson. He's already, like, ordering his food. He's up next. And I'm like, my head all down, and like, can you buy me some French fries? That awkward. And he just looks at me. He's like, okay, because obviously he's told him. So he just looks down a little bit at me. He's like, okay. Like, I don't know. I could only imagine what was running through his head. So he ordered me, small French fries. And I'm like, yes, I got my French fries. And so now we're all walking back to the block, McDonald's at hand. So we're eating, walking and talking, making our way back to the block. And while we were walking back, like, we had a long conversation. I couldn't remember half of the things we spoke about, but it was a good, nice, long conversation. Like, we made each other laugh, and just good conversation. So I guess his aunt, teeth, whatever, I don't know. She kind of let us be. So, like, we were walking behind them. So me and him were towards the back, and everybody else was, like, walking more towards the front. Just viral amongst themselves, but, still keeping up. And during the walk, I gave him my number, so we exchanged numbers. And we started walking and talking some more, and I guess the conversation was good. And I'm really trying to remember what we spoke about. I can't remember what we spoke about, but it was good conversation. So we were texting and stuff. Now we're back to the block. I had every intention on paying him back for the fries, but he's like, nah, like, don't worry about it. I believe that's what he said. I can't, this is over, what, like 14 years ago? I'm trying my best to remember. So he's like, no, don't worry about it. So I'm like, okay, like, thank you. So I went upstairs. I let my mom know, like, Mom, okay, we're back. So she was like, okay, like, what happened? I kind of told her what happened, and, the scenario that went down in front of the train station, and that he bought me some fries, and I'm gonna go back downstairs, and I'm gonna hang out with Rose and stuff in front of the building. So she's like, okay, go ahead. So we're all in front of the building now. We're hanging out, we're chilling, we're talking some more. And the crease, I'm going to use the color Edges on this fluffy yet somewhat pointy crease brush from Motor Brushes. And I'm just gonna dab in it really lightly. So I'm also gonna tell you guys like kind of how we ended up together. So now I can't remember what time that was. It was like, I think the sun was going this. I don't think the sun was up anymore. So the sun was kind of setting when we went over there to go walk to the train station. So yeah, so it was getting somewhat kind of late. It was a school night, I believe. Was it a school night? No, it was in August. So school hadn't started yet. It was the end of the summer because we got together the following month in September. So okay, but it was getting late, whatever. So it was around that time our mom was like, you know, past a certain time she wasn't having it. She wanted me upstairs. So we talked for as much as we could, and then eventually, you know, I hugged him goodbye. I was like, nice to meet you, and I went upstairs. And I think I can't remember if it was that night that we were texting back and forth, but at some point we were texting each other. It wasn't too long afterwards, and oh my gosh, I can honestly remember because he told me his name, you know, like his name is Nelson, very close to Nelly. So I stored his name on my phone under Nelly. Now, fun fact, everybody calls my mom Nelly. Her name is Nareda, but everybody calls her Nelly. And so I remember when he had texted me, and I was in the library, and that was kind of like the getaway. If you didn't have any money and you wanted to go on the computer and whatever, like the library kind of was like the next hangout spot. It wasn't in front of the building, it was in the library. So I told my mom like I had to go do homework so that way I could go to the library and kind of chill. Like I still did my homework, but I really wanted to chill. So now he's texting me and I see Nelly come up on my phone and dun like a ding ding guy. I should have known. I have my mom's number stored on my phone as mommy, But when it came up as Nelly, the first thing that came in my head was, oh, it's my mom. And I was, oh my God, I felt so stupid after the fact. So now he's texting me, like, I guess trying to conversate. And I'm like, I'm in the library, I'm doing homework. Like, I'll text you back afterwards when I'm done. Like, I'm trying everything I can to kind of brush him off because I'm thinking it's my mom. And she's just being my mom. And I'm just like I don't want to deal with her right now. Like I don't want to deal with her now. So I just want to hang out and have fun. And she's probably asking and pressing me so I can hurry up and come home. And I didn't want to go home. So then it wasn't until like a little bit after the fact, it dawned on me like, oh crap, like it's not my mom. It's Nelson. So I'm like, oh my bad, like I dead thought you my mom. And like I guess he laughed about the situation. I don't know, maybe I can do like a part 2 on his take on his side of the story, what went down and how he felt and what he thought when he met me and his perspective on what happened when he met me. But anyway, so like now at this point I had finished my homework. Well, I was at the very, very end of it, and we was texting a lot. So I originally went there to hang out. I stopped hanging out with whoever was hanging out with, whoever was at the library, and I kind of went to the table that was empty, and I just sat there and I was just texting him and laughing, and like I was having a good old time. I was getting all giddy and everything, and I'm like, wow, like I really like him. And I'm like, hey, like, when's the next time you plan on coming through to visit your aunt? He's like, oh, I'll probably come more often now that I know where she lives and she got her own place, blah, blah, blah. So like, okay, cool, like, just let me know. And he was like, yeah. So needless to say, he started coming by a lot more often. So whenever he came by, like, we would always together and chilling and talking. Wasn't really leaving the block, just staying in front of the block because, my mother being my mother. didn't really let me go anywhere, but whatever. So we talked, we chilled. We got really close, and we were texting a lot whenever he wasn't coming to visit. Like, we were always texting so much in between. And eventually, like, I started growing feelings for him. But let me backtrack a little bit, because prior to, mind you, I have a Boost phone at the time, and today's kids nowadays will never know the struggle of what it was like to have to put minutes on your phone, or to wait after 7 to use your phone so the minutes are free. Like, the kids nowadays will never know the struggle. And so I asked them one day, like, hey, like, you know, because I got so tired of waiting till 7 o'clock so I could actually talk to him on the phone. So one day I asked him, like, hey, like, what phone company do you have? He's like, Sprint. So I'm like, okay, like, when you're calling a Sprint number or like another Boost Mobile number, it's free. Like, you don't have to wait till 7. So I was like, oh my God, like, all right, hold on, I'm gonna call you right now because my minutes is free. So I was texting him that, like, I'm gonna call you now. Like, I didn't know you had Sprint. That means I could talk to you. Like, you know, I don't gotta wait till 7 o'clock. My minutes is free. So now at this point, oh my gosh, whenever I had a Sprint moment, we were always talking and texting, and it got so bad. Like, my mom had to take away my phone sometimes because I was like, always so in my phone. But it is what it is. Like, we got super close, and he had just come out of a relationship, so I guess he told us before, like, he wasn't looking. He just, you know, he saw me as, you know, a friend, a companion, whatever. Obviously things changed, but so, all right, let me see what color I'm gonna play with next. The shade Credit right here in my very outer corner. And I think a month into us talking, we eventually became a thing, a couple. And oh my gosh, you know, my mom had to give him the whole rundown and blah blah blah, and you know, do what moms do. But needless to say, he grew on her. Yeah, she took a liking to him. I know. And it wasn't an issue. And he was kind of like my first, it's so weird to say, because things worked great. We're still together to this day. We ended up getting married. Like, we have 4 children. One unfortunately had passed shortly after birth. That'll probably be another story time, but I really want to get into it because even though it happened so long ago, like, he would have been 9, I still get very emotional about it. And we had children, got married, you know. But anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, he was kind of like my first real relationship. And he ended up staying around. We ended up working out. So anyway, it's how many people can say that their first actual real relationship ended up in marriage and a happy life. Like, I got my happily ever after with, like, you know, my first real relationship. Anyway, so I went on my first date with him. Like, he took me to my first date. We went to the movies. We went shopping together. He bought me a pair of Jordans. I'm like I felt so like so loved, so, you know, so spoiled. So, like, he made me feel so special. He still does. And we went out to eat. We went to the movies. He took me to get my tongue pierced. I no longer having it. I might get it repierced. I don't know. I debate on it, but I really want microdermas on my lower back. But another story, another time. And like, we got really close. And that's pretty much kind of how we met. It was thanks to his Aunt Rose and calling him out here. And I know she loves to say all the time that if it wasn't for me, like, y'all wouldn't have met. And I'm like, well, actually, it was because your son was acting up and you called him here. But whatever. She's partially right. If it wasn't for him, for her calling him, it would have been a completely different story. All right, for the lid, I'm gonna go in with Zam. I'm gonna apply it dryly first. And that is how we met. And we've been together ever since. So we officially became a couple on September 27th, 2008. Sound off in the comments below, you know, one of your dating stories, if you care to share. So, I mean, I kind of have no more to say about that, on how we met. That was kind of like how we met. That's, you know, my little story. So I'm just gonna finish this eye look and then show you guys the end result. Now for the center eyelid, I'm going to put a little bit of trust issues right here on a flat brush. I'm gonna see what it looks like dry first, and then I'll wet it afterwards. So I'm just gonna kind of stamp it into place, and then probably switch my brush and go back and do the same thing. Going back with the shade Zam on this kind of flat but somewhat fluffy, like this, what do you call this? Like an eyeshadow shader brush. I'm just going back with the same lid color and just intensifying, like right here and right here of the lid, and leaving the center with that trust issues color that we used, which was this color right here. So I'm going, and with this one, just intensify here and here. Now with that same transition brush with very little product, I'm gonna go with the shade Ginger very lightly and just sweep it on the little lash line. Now with this thinner smudger brush, I'm gonna go in with the shade Edges right here and keep it somewhat close to my lower lash line. Going back to that first brush that we used for our transition area, no additional product, just going in and kind of blending. For the very inner corner, I'm using this very tiny itty bitty brush, and I'm gonna go in with the shade, I guess Soleil, I don't know, but this nice shimmery shade right here. Now this flat angled brush, I'm going to use this with the shade Credit and really keep this very, very, very close to my little lash line, and just kind of like stamp it from here to like kind of here, and then just smoke it out a little bit, but not dragging it down too much. Same fluffy brush. So now I'm going to line my waterline with this ColourPop eyeliner in the shade Lost Girls from the Tinkerbell collection. And it's kind of like a bronzy brown color, like a shimmer bronzy brown. Now, you know, I already did my lips, so I have this lip liner from ColourPop on. It is in the shade 951, and this Dose of Color is like a lipstick in the shade Nude Mood. And on top I have this gloss from Alamar Cosmetics in the shade Coqueta. Now I'm just going to apply my Laura Geller Fortifying Lashes eyelash primer, and with whatever and that is the complete look using the Anastasia and Jackie Aina palette. That is the completed look using the Anastasia palette in collaboration with Jackie Aina. Ah, got it. So let me just take my hair down. It's gonna fall the way it wants to fall. So, all right, here, what are we doing today? It is what it is. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this inspired you to bring out your old makeup to kind of play around with and make some use of. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time, and let me see. I don't know what story time is next, but there'll definitely be another one. Yep, so have a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and bye.